everyone. I had a request on my blog of interest in wanting to know what to do with all the things that you get once you find out they're edible. And I just had a few ideas here. I have some things that I've harvested on the table here. And I was going to show you just a few things that I do that are real simple that anybody can do. And I have up in front here, I was going to show you this. Just harvested some pine needles from a branch that had broken down nearby us. And these are nice and fresh. So what we're going to do with them is we're going to make an elixir in this jar. And it's super easy. All you have to do is you take your needles and just stick them in the jar. And you can even have little twigs here. Some have just little pieces of twigs there, and that's okay too, because that's medicinal. And I don't have enough here to fill the whole jar, so I'm just going to show you as an example. But if you were doing that, you'd want to do the whole up to here, up to the jar's shoulders, and leave about 1 inch of head space. So just pack them in real tight. And then this is vegetable glycerin here. I'm going to pour it in there, and you can either use glycerin, or if blood sugar is not a problem for you, you can use nice honey. And then you can use vodka, which I'm using here. Yeah, I have 80 proof vodka. 100 proof's better, but I couldn't find any. So just fill it up to over the top, and you want about half and half. And I'm just, showing you for demonstration purposes. That's about half and half, but obviously you'd want to have it filled up all the way. And then this glycerin, I didn't have a very big container, but you want probably about twice as much of this glycerin. Probably about 8 ounces of glycerin, and then 8 ounces of vodka would give you, 16 ounces, give you close to a quart. And that would leave, you want to leave a little bit of head space here, and then you just put a cap on it and let that sit for a couple of weeks. So that's one easy thing, and that's good for coughs and colds and whatever. And then I have over here a bunch of grape leaves. They were getting out of hand, so we trimmed all the grapevines that were growing all over the blackberries and raspberries. So I just chopped off a bunch of them. You see these have blossoms on them. I'm sticking them in this jar too, just in the stems and everything. Just stick those in a jar like that. And it helps to have a wide mouth jar so you can get your hand in there and pour them out more easily. So just whatever, I'm using a Bubby's pickle jar. Just pack that in there really well. And see, I have plenty of grape leaves, so just fill it all up. So I'll just would continue picking all these, filling it up with that. And then I'm just going to use some apple cider vinegar and pour it up to over the top of them. You want it to be completely covered when you're making an elixir or a tincture or just a vinegar tincture, whatever. You want it to cover, because if you don't, it could get moldy. So you want to make sure that there'll be enough, and you can just push it down underneath. And if you notice that after a few days it starts floating up to the top, just take the lid off and shove it back down in there. So the vinegar will cover up the top there, and so that'll sit for as long as you want, at least 2 weeks. The longer the better. And if you want, you can give it a shake every day. And this one, and couldn't find a lid for it because I think somebody used it for a bug jar. But just give it a shake every day if you want, and they'll be ready in at least a couple of weeks. Now, a trick that I learned for doing tinctures and things like this to get the strongest one, it sounds a little funny, but if you do it, if you make them on the day of the new moon and you pour them off on the full moon, you'll have the strongest product. That's something that just works with gravity. One of those things that's hard to explain. But another thing I found over in our yard were some of these daylilies that are blooming. And these are just Asiatic dayflowers, the leaves to them. And I was just going to show you, we have here a salad of our lettuce and endive and some onion greens from our garden, and you just put them on top of your salad there. Salad's another great way to use up your edibles that you find around in your garden, as long as they're not too bitter, because most people don't care for bitter, but you have to be sneakier with the bitters. But the things like this that are mild, you just put them right in there with your salad. And then I have some goldenrod here that would be way too strong for a salad. You wouldn't want to put that in one. But another way to to dry them. And then I have some blackberries that I trimmed because they were getting too big. You can just put rubber band around them, and then I have some nails up here on our shelf. Just hang them up like that and just keep them hanging there till they're dry, and then just crumble up the leaves and either put them in a really airproof or airtight jar, or just keep them in a paper bag and don't crumble them, and crumble them up when you want to use them in tea or whatever. And those are just some real simple, easy ideas that you can try at home. And also, lilies and other flowers like this, you can easily put those in the freezer. You can just put them in a Ziploc bag and then just label it and put it in the freezer. Right now in our freezer we have some black locust blossoms that we've gotten, and dandelions, and some pine catkins that have the pollen on them. Just stuck them in the freezer. That's one of the easiest ways. And you can put them in the dehydrator. You can dry them, like the pine needles. You can dry any of these and then just powder them up. Do it that way if you want, and just have fun and experiment, and just I hope that you have a lot of good experiences doing this, and that you have some space that you can store them in, because that's the biggest challenge that I have, is where you put everything when you're done. Just find a nice place that's out of the sun. You put them in a shelf that doesn't have doors. Make sure you put a curtain or something on there that keeps them out of the light, because the light tends to discolor them and make them so they're not good anymore. So thank you so much for watching us, and we have a wonderful time.